Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
Scottie Pippen says Steph Curry wouldn't be the same player against the '96 Bulls. Under Stephen Curry's leadership, the Golden State Warriors have redefined modern basketball, winning 4 NBA championships and setting a new standard for offensive innovation. But not everyone believes their success would translate across all eras of the game. One of those skeptics is NBA legend Scottie Pippen. In a recent interview with Marca, the 6-time NBA champion reflected on the often debated hypothetical matchup between his iconic 1995-96 Chicago Bulls and the 2015-16 Warriors, the team that broke their 72-win record with an astonishing 73-9 season, only to fall short in the finals. When asked how Curry would fare if transported back to the physical, defense-heavy 1990s, Pippen didn't hesitate. With the rules from the 90s? Steph Curry wouldn't be the same player, he said. Playing in today's game is like breaking out of prison. It's freedom. No one's knocking you to the floor. Pippen wasn't dismissing Curry's talent. He acknowledged the Warriors' style and Steph's unique impact on the game. But his point was clear: Curry's game, built on agility, movement, and precision shooting, thrives in an era that favors skill and spacing, not bruising physicality and hand-checking. In the 90s, guards were routinely met with hard fouls and aggressive pressure. Driving to the rim meant taking hits. Space on the perimeter was a luxury. And in that kind of environment, Pippen believes Curry's effectiveness would have been greatly diminished. Still, Pippen didn't fall into the usual trap of labeling today's players as soft, a criticism often echoed by former stars. In fact, he gave credit where it was due. They're bigger, stronger, faster, he said of today's NBA athletes. I don't mean they're more physical, though. I think basketball in the late 80s and early 90s was as physical as it gets. He went on to say that the difference lies in the rules. Modern officiating doesn't allow for the kind of contact that was once considered routine. Back then, players could deliver punishing fouls without being ejected. Today, those same plays would likely result in flagrant calls or suspensions. Interestingly, Pippen admitted that if the Bulls were to face the Warriors under today's rules, Curry and company might have the upper hand. The space, the pace, and the three-point revolution would all favor Golden State. In today's game, the Warriors probably win, he said. But if it's played by 90s rules, the outcome is very different. What makes Pippen's take stand out is the balance. Rather than dismissing either era, he recognizes the greatness in both, acknowledging how the evolution of the game has created different kinds of stars, different kinds of strengths. And while we'll never truly know who would win in a Bulls versus Warriors showdown across eras, Pippen's insight adds valuable perspective. Greatness can look very different depending on the rules of the game. Pippen's comments quickly reignited the long-standing debate between eras, one that pits today's finesse and spacing against the raw physicality and defensive grit of the 1990s. Fans, analysts, and even former players weighed in, many defending Curry's ability to adapt to any era, while others echoed Pippen's view that rules matter more than people like to admit. One former NBA coach, speaking anonymously to The Athletic, noted, "Curry's skill set is generational, no doubt. But back then, he wouldn't be allowed to run off screens untouched. You're getting bumped, held, shoved, and not just once. Every possession." Indeed, what many overlook in these debates is how different the defensive philosophy was. In the 90s, hand-checking was legal, perimeter players were routinely funneled into hard contact, and help defense arrived with force, not finesse. It wasn't uncommon for guards to take significant hits just trying to get open. For a player like Curry, who thrives on movement, timing, and shooting off screens, such resistance would have demanded serious adjustments. The question isn't whether he had the talent to compete in the 90s. It's how that talent would be expressed under completely different conditions. Still, there are those who argue that truly great players transcend systems. Draymond Green, never one to stay quiet, responded indirectly on his podcast, saying, "They act like Steph couldn't adapt. That man would have found a way in any era. And let's not act like he's soft. He's taken more hits than people think." Meanwhile, Curry himself has not responded to Pippen's remarks publicly. But this isn't the first time he's been at the center of this kind of comparison. His revolutionary shooting has led many to reimagine what's possible on a basketball court, but it has also placed him at the heart of a culture clash between old-school physicality and new-age precision. Pippen's interview also touched on the broader shifts in the game. While he acknowledged the athletic evolution of players, highlighting their speed, strength, and size, he lamented the loss of what he calls real contact. In his view, the absence of true physical defense in today's NBA alters how we evaluate toughness and resilience. Today's stars are incredible, he said, but they're not dealing with what we did. You can't really compare the pressure, the pounding, or the wear and tear. The impact of Pippen's comments extended beyond fan discussions. Sports talk shows revisited the 2015-16 Warriors' legacy, questioning whether their historic 73-win season should still be considered the most impressive regular season feat, given the absence of a title. Others took the opportunity to reassess how physicality, or the lack of it, shapes narratives around greatness. Even younger players like Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum have acknowledged in past interviews that the 90s game looked rough and totally different from what they're used to. Edwards once joked that he probably wouldn't have survived more than 2 seasons back then without a few bruised ribs. Still, it's important to recognize that era comparisons are, by nature, speculative. The rules, training, travel schedules, nutrition, and even the basketball itself have evolved. What Pippen offers is not an attack on Curry's legacy, but a reminder that greatness is always shaped by context. Whether fans side with the Warriors or the Bulls, the debate remains a testament to the lasting impact of both teams. One reshaped the game for a generation. The other dominated theirs in a way that still echoes decades later. As for Steph Curry, whether he would have thrived in the 90s or not, there's no denying this. His presence continues to force the basketball world, past and present, to re-evaluate what greatness truly means. Warriors' quiet interest in King's star creates major roadblock in Jonathan Kuminga trade talks. As training camp inches closer, the Golden State Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga still haven't reached an agreement on a contract extension, and the uncertainty is opening the door to trade discussions. Among the teams showing interest in Kuminga are the Sacramento Kings, who reportedly see him as a strong addition to a core that includes Domantas Sabonis and potentially Zach LaVine. However, while the two sides have re-engaged in trade talks, there's a major issue holding things back: Malik Monk. According to The Athletic's Sam Amick, a potential deal would involve sending Kuminga to Sacramento in exchange for Monk. But while the Kings are open to that idea, the Warriors' interest in Monk is said to be fairly muted. And that's where things get complicated. The key sticking point? Monk's contract. He holds a $21.5 million player option for the 2027-28 season, a figure that reportedly doesn't align with Golden State's long-term salary cap strategy. The Warriors have been focused on regaining financial flexibility after years of navigating the luxury tax, and adding a guard with that kind of salary commitment doesn't fit their timeline. Team sources also raised questions about Monk's overall fit with the current roster. While he's an explosive scorer and would certainly bring energy to the backcourt, there's no clear plan for how he would be integrated. In fact, if the Warriors were to acquire Monk, sources suggest the front office would likely look to flip him elsewhere, though even that route isn't guaranteed. The challenge with that path, Amick noted, is that it's unclear whether a secondary move for Monk would materialize anytime soon. Kuminga's contract clock is ticking. All of this is happening as Kuminga faces a key deadline, October 1st. That's when he must decide whether to accept Golden State's $7.9 million qualifying offer for the 2025-26 season. Accepting the offer would keep him with the Warriors short-term and make him an unrestricted free agent next summer, but it would also include a no-trade clause for the season. Declining the offer could lead to a different outcome. The Warriors are believed to have presented a multi-year deal during the off-season, more lucrative, but also more restrictive. If Kuminga chooses not to sign either, he risks entering the season without long-term security. There's also been speculation around a potential sign-and-trade involving Sacramento. But given the Warriors' reluctance to take on Monk's contract, and the uncertainty of flipping him to another team, that scenario currently seems like a long shot. Kuminga's value, and the locker room's sentiment. What complicates matters further is Kuminga's rising value. At just 22 years old, he's coming off a breakout year and has shown flashes of becoming a high-level two-way player. The Warriors are well aware of what they have, and according to team insiders, several of the team's veteran stars have privately voiced support for keeping him. There's a growing belief within the organization that Kuminga is ready to take the next step, and letting him go, especially for a questionable return, would be a hard sell in the locker room. For now, the Warriors appear to be weighing their options carefully. They don't want to lose a young talent like Kuminga for a short-term fix, especially one that could restrict their flexibility in the years to come. At the same time, Kuminga and his camp are aware of his value and are seeking clarity before the season begins. How this all resolves, whether through an extension, a trade, or a surprise third option, remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, the Warriors are at a pivotal moment, balancing their future core with the last remaining years of their championship window. Front office under pressure as October deadline looms. With the October 1st deadline approaching fast, pressure is mounting inside Golden State's front office. The franchise is walking a fine line, trying to preserve its long-term flexibility while not alienating a young player who could very well be central to its next era. Internally, sources say the Warriors are split. There are voices in the organization, particularly on the player development side, who believe Kuminga hasn't yet reached his ceiling and deserves a larger role in the system. Others, particularly in the executive wing, remain wary of committing significant money to a player whose fit with Steve Kerr's system has at times been inconsistent. That tension is compounded by the state of the roster. With Klay Thompson gone and Draymond Green entering the later stages of his career, Golden State is in a transition phase. Curry remains the centerpiece, but there's a clear sense that time is running out to build one last competitive roster around him, and losing a young, athletic wing like Kuminga without a clear upgrade would be a step in the wrong direction. Around the league, how other teams are watching. The uncertainty hasn't gone unnoticed around the league. Multiple teams have reportedly been monitoring Kuminga's situation closely, hoping Golden State might ultimately decide to move on. His upside as a versatile forward with defensive potential and improving offensive instincts makes him one of the most intriguing young trade chips available, if the Warriors are willing to listen. But any serious suitor would need to be ready to either extend Kuminga or offer him a significant deal next summer. That complicates matters, particularly for cap-strapped teams like Sacramento, who are already carrying large contracts, including Domantas Sabonis and possibly a new deal for Monk. Meanwhile, rival executives have noted that the Warriors' stance on Monk might soften if another team became involved as a third party. One scenario floated involves a multi-team deal that would allow Golden State to acquire a better-fitting rotation piece while Monk is rerouted elsewhere. But sources stress that no such framework is currently in advanced stages. Team chemistry and locker room dynamics. Another factor complicating any potential trade is the impact on team chemistry. Kuminga has built strong relationships within the locker room, particularly with veterans like Curry and Kevin Looney. He's known for his work ethic and has shown maturity in how he's handled the trade rumors publicly, staying quiet, continuing his workouts, and avoiding any disruption in camp. Still, as training camp draws closer, players are reportedly eager for clarity. One veteran reportedly told The Athletic that it's hard to build when key guys aren't sure if they're staying. Golden State, long known for its culture and stability, risks sending the wrong message to the locker room if Kuminga is dealt without a clear plan for the future. The team already faces questions about its identity heading into the season. Are they still chasing titles, or beginning a soft rebuild? Trading a 22-year-old lottery pick for a guard with an uncertain future would only deepen those questions. What comes next? As of now, all options remain on the table. Kuminga could accept the qualifying offer and bet on himself heading into unrestricted free agency next summer. He could reach a long-term deal with the Warriors before the October deadline. Or Golden State could surprise the league with a creative trade, either with Sacramento or another team entirely. Whatever the outcome, the Warriors are at a crossroads, one where financial discipline, roster continuity, and competitive urgency are all pulling in different directions. For a team that dominated the past decade with a clear identity, this moment is something different. And what they choose to do with Jonathan Kuminga could say more about their future than any headline trade ever would. Projected Warriors starting lineup boosts confidence of Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, with a key role for a new veteran face. The Golden State Warriors may be in a temporary holding pattern as contract talks with Jonathan Kuminga remain unresolved, but inside the organization, there's no sense of panic, especially from its veteran leaders. According to ESPN's Anthony Slater, franchise cornerstones Stephen Curry and Draymond Green remain calm and confident, fully aligned with the front office's vision and the direction the roster is heading. That confidence, Slater notes, stems largely from one expected change in the starting five. Al Horford stepping in as the new starting center. "I'd describe the vets as calm and confident," Slater said. "Calm because they know that once the Kuminga domino falls, Al Horford will be the starting center, and that matters to them." At 38, Horford may not be the explosive athlete he once was, but he brings exactly what the Warriors need: championship experience, veteran leadership, and reliable floor spacing. Last season, he shot an efficient 36.3% from three, more than enough to keep defenses honest and allow Curry and others to operate freely. But it's not just Horford's presence that's giving the veterans peace of mind. There's also a growing belief within the team that this roster, once finalized, could quietly become a legitimate contender in the Western Conference. There's confidence because Jimmy Butler apparently looked great this summer. Steph is fully healthy. They believe they can make a real run this season, Slater added. A new-look Warriors core, steeped in experience and built for the playoffs. Beyond Horford, the Warriors are reportedly targeting a few familiar faces and key role players to deepen the rotation. Talks are underway with DeAnthony Melton and Gary Payton too, both former Warriors with playoff experience, while there's also interest in bringing Seth Curry to join his brother Stephen in the Bay. If all goes to plan, Golden State's projected starting five could feature Stephen Curry, Brandon Podziemski, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Al Horford, a blend of veteran savvy, defensive grit, and scoring versatility. The bench would then be bolstered by reliable role players and emerging young talent, giving head coach Steve Kerr the kind of flexibility he thrives on in tight postseason series. The Western Conference remains as competitive as ever, with the Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston Rockets, and defending champion Denver Nuggets leading most preseason conversations. But within the Warriors' locker room, there's a quiet conviction that this team still has more to give, especially if Kuminga returns on good terms or if the front office pivots quickly after his situation is resolved. While questions remain about Kuminga's future with the franchise, the Warriors are building a roster that doesn't solely depend on his availability. With Curry healthy, Butler potentially on board, and Horford anchoring the middle, Golden State might just have the right mix of experience, depth, and urgency to make one more deep playoff run. Time will tell, but if this version of the Warriors takes shape, don't be surprised if they're still playing meaningful basketball deep into the spring. Internally, the Warriors' front office is operating with calculated patience. They understand that the timing of the Kuminga decision will shape not just the rotation, but also the flexibility they have heading into the start of the season. Until that situation is resolved, potential free agent signings and trade talks remain on standby, though several players have reportedly expressed interest in joining the team once the roster picture becomes clearer. The situation surrounding Kuminga has also drawn attention across the league. Once viewed as a key piece of the Warriors' future, his uncertain role and contract talks have reignited conversations about the franchise's long-term direction. After a breakout second half last season, Kuminga has proven he can contribute at a high level, but questions remain about his consistency, fit within Kerr's system, and willingness to accept a secondary role behind more experienced stars. Meanwhile, around the league, rival executives are watching closely. Teams see a potential opening, either to pry Kuminga away via trade, or to capitalize on any instability in Golden State's rotation. But inside the Warriors camp, the mood remains largely unaffected. Veterans like Curry and Green have been through too many playoff wars to be rattled by off-season noise. Their leadership has been central to the team's steady approach, especially as younger players like Brandon Podziemski and Moses Moody prepare for larger roles. According to team sources, Podziemski has impressed during closed workouts with his shooting consistency, court vision, and poise under pressure. If he can carry that momentum into training camp, there's growing belief he could earn a starting role alongside Curry in the backcourt. This would give the Warriors a rare balance of youth and experience, a necessary combination in a Western Conference where the margin for error is slim. There's also intrigue surrounding Jimmy Butler's possible arrival. While nothing is official, the discussions have intensified in recent weeks, and multiple insiders suggest that Butler is open to the idea of a fresh challenge. His defensive tenacity, playoff pedigree, and leadership style could provide exactly the kind of edge the Warriors have lacked since their 2022 title run. If Butler does come aboard, it will likely shift the dynamics of the team's hierarchy, but not in a disruptive way. Those within the organization believe Butler's intensity would complement Curry's calm command and Green's vocal leadership. Combined with Horford's presence in the paint, the trio would bring a level of maturity, resilience, and basketball IQ that's hard to match. But even without Butler, the Warriors are preparing as if their current core can compete. Draymond Green, speaking earlier this month, reinforced that belief. We've been counted out before. That's nothing new. But when we're healthy, locked in, and focused, we know what we're capable of. As preseason approaches, all eyes will be on the front office to finalize the roster and solidify rotations. Whether Kuminga is part of that picture or not, the Warriors appear ready to move forward, with purpose, and with the belief that their championship window isn't closed just yet. Further developments are expected in the coming weeks, as negotiations around Kuminga's contract and other roster decisions continue to unfold behind the scenes.